There exists within each of us a power so profound, so absolute, that it is capable of shaping the very destiny of our lives, yet so often left dormant, neglected, and misdirected. This power is the mind, the sovereign ruler over circumstance, over fortune, over the apparent chaos of the world. I say apparent chaos, because to the disciplined mind there is no chaos, only opportunity, no confusion, only patterns waiting to be recognized, no misfortune, only lessons to be mastered. It is the mind that creates wealth, not merely of money, but of influence, of character, of legacy. And yet, the vast majority of men and women walk through life blind to this truth, their actions governed by fleeting emotion, their judgment clouded by impulsive reaction, their power surrendered to the whims of circumstance. Listen closely, for this is not a truth for the faint of heart. Emotional detachment is not the denial of feeling, it is the mastery of feeling. Mental discipline is not a fleeting whim. It is the relentless training of thought, of purpose, of self-command. To take control of your inner world is to place yourself beyond the reach of external turbulence, to operate with a clarity and effectiveness so rare that the untrained eye perceives it as genius, as luck, as destiny itself. But know this, it is neither luck nor destiny that propels men to greatness. It is the deliberate command of their own minds, the careful cultivation of detachment, and the tireless forging of their inner faculties. The first law to understand is the law of mental neutrality. Too many allow their thoughts to be hijacked by fear, by anger, by envy, by approval. Each of these is a thief of potential, a usurper of energy, a destroyer of purpose. When you respond to every stimulus with unbridled emotion, you surrender your power. You give to circumstance the authority that belongs to you alone. But when you cultivate neutrality, the calm assessment of every situation, you do not merely survive the storms of life, you navigate them with precision, with insight, with unstoppable efficiency. Neutrality is not weakness, it is strength under control. Neutrality is not indifference, it is clarity of vision. And those who master this principle find themselves rising above distraction, above manipulation, above every form of external interference that would seek to derail their ascent. Closely allied to this is the power of calmness, the art of operating from a state of unshakable composure. Calmness is not merely the absence of agitation, it is the conscious refusal to allow emotion to dictate action. Observe this principle in the greatest leaders, in the most successful innovators, in the architects of history. They do not act in haste, they do not react impulsively, they do not allow their judgment to be clouded by the whims of circumstance. They act from a place of disciplined thought, of deliberate decision, of unwavering purpose. And in that calmness lies their power, the power to see opportunity where others see disaster, to seize advantage where others cower in fear, to construct empires where others surrender to chaos. Now, let us turn to the principle of definiteness of purpose, for no mastery is possible without it. To be masterful is to know exactly where you are going, to define with absolute clarity the life you intend to create. Vague aspirations, half-hearted ambitions, dreams without precise contours, these are the breeding grounds of failure. Those who achieve extraordinary results are not men or women who hope or wish. They are those who have declared a purpose so compelling that every thought, every word, every action is aligned to its fulfillment. They do not ask permission from the world. They do not seek validation from others. They command their own lives, and by doing so, they bend the universe itself toward their vision. But let us be honest. Purpose alone is insufficient. It is discipline that converts desire into achievement. Mental discipline is the silent architect behind every lasting success. It is the daily exercise of self-control, the conscious refusal to be swayed by impulse, the practice of focusing thought, energy, and attention upon the creation of wealth, influence, and enduring accomplishment. Discipline is not occasional, it is habitual. It is not practiced when convenient. It is maintained when everything in the external world conspires to distract you, to discourage you, to derail you. The disciplined mind is impenetrable. It is a fortress of clarity and intent. And within that fortress resides the true power of detachment, the ability to act without being consumed by desire, to engage without being manipulated by fear, to create without being distorted by doubt. And here, let us speak frankly of autosuggestion, the silent mechanism through which thought translates into reality. Every repeated assertion of belief, every deliberate visualization, every considered affirmation imprints upon the subconscious mind the blueprint for action. The mind, if guided correctly, becomes a relentless engine of achievement. If left unguided, it becomes a ship without rudder, tossed upon the waves of emotion, circumstance, and the fleeting whims of others. Train your mind daily, and it will serve you. Fail to train it, and it will dominate you. The choice is absolute. It is imperative to understand the difference between reaction and response. The untrained mind reacts, it flares, it sputters, it explodes. The trained mind responds. It measures, it calculates, it executes with precision. Reaction is surrender, response is command. Reaction is chaos, response is power. The path to mastery lies in cultivating this fundamental distinction, observing every impulse, evaluating every trigger, acting deliberately rather than emotionally. Those who master this distinction are the rulers of their circumstances, the navigators of their destiny, the architects of unshakable success. Every obstacle, every challenge, every betrayal, every misfortune becomes not a barrier, but a tool, a means of sharpening skill, of refining judgment, of expanding the capacity of the mind. Those who yield to anger, to resentment, to envy, waste these tools. Those who rise above, who remain detached, who observe without surrender, extract from every adversity a lesson, a strategy, a power that compounds toward achievement. Emotional detachment is not the suppression of feeling. It is the conscious redirection of energy toward creation rather than destruction. It is the deliberate cultivation of calm judgment under fire, of strategic thought under pressure, of clarity amidst confusion. Consider, if you will, the greatest financiers, inventors, leaders, and strategists of history. Did they succumb to every insult, every disappointment, every slight number? They mastered their emotions. They directed their thoughts. They acted from a place of prepared neutrality, and they achieved what others deemed impossible, and so must you. For the world offers no favor to the weak, no mercy to the undisciplined, and no reward to those who allow emotion to dictate circumstance. The realm of extraordinary success belongs only to those who are chosen not by birth, not by luck, but by their own deliberate cultivation of mastery over self. And now, as you stand upon the precipice of your own potential, I command you to understand this ultimate truth. Control your mind, and you control your future. Master your emotions, and you master your circumstances. Define your purpose, and you define your destiny. Discipline your thoughts, and your actions will become unstoppable. Detach yourself from the trivial, the transient, the distracting, and you will wield power far beyond the reach of the average man or woman. There is no mystery here, no secret handed down from some oracle. There is only law, only principle, only the inexorable cause and effect relationship between thought and outcome, between mastery and wealth, between discipline and triumph. Rise, then, and claim your authority over yourself. Command your thoughts. Observe your impulses. Align your actions with purpose. Harness the power of autosuggestion. Convert adversity into advantage. Respond with calmness, reason, and precision. Reject distraction, doubt, and reactive chaos. The world awaits the manifestation of your discipline, the fruition of your deliberate command. And when you act in full awareness of these truths, when you allow your inner mastery to govern your outward expression, when you refuse to be swayed by circumstance or emotion, you will unlock the ultimate secret, the secret that only the chosen ever grasp, the secret that converts thought into wealth, potential into achievement, and intention into enduring legacy. Know this and act upon it. Your wealth, your influence, your purpose, your destiny are not distant ideals. They are immediate possibilities, attainable by those who have the courage, the discipline, and the wisdom to master themselves. Choose, therefore, to become the one who commands, the one who achieves, the one who transcends the ordinary, the one who claims that which others cannot even see. This is your moment. This is your declaration. This is your law. Only the chosen will ever unlock this secret to wealth. And now, having been entrusted with this truth, it is your duty to act decisively, relentlessly, and without hesitation. Understand now, with unshakable clarity, that mastery over the inner world is not merely a philosophical exercise. It is the foundation upon which all external success is constructed. You cannot hope to build an empire, to craft a legacy, or to accumulate enduring wealth if your own mind is in turmoil. The chaotic mind produces chaotic results. The mind governed by emotion produces miscalculated actions, wasted energy, and squandered opportunity. Therefore, the first act of true leaders, of those who aspire to extraordinary accomplishment, is the deliberate construction of mental order. They cultivate habits of thought, they enforce standards of mental rigor, and they command their own emotional landscape with unwavering authority. Consider the subtle difference between reaction and initiative. Reaction is passive, automatic, and often destructive. Initiative is active, deliberate, and infinitely productive. A man who reacts to every insult, every setback, every unexpected event forfeits the very power that could elevate him. He becomes a servant to circumstance. A man who exercises initiative, who chooses his response with deliberation, who aligns his actions with the definite purpose he has set for himself, becomes the master of circumstance, bending the world to the architecture of his mind. Let us examine, in exacting detail, the principle of emotional economy. Every human being possesses a finite reservoir of emotional energy. Squander it on fear, on resentment, on fleeting disappointment, and you diminish your capacity to act decisively when opportunity arises. Preserve it, invest it, direct it toward purpose, and you amplify your effectiveness exponentially. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is efficiency. It is the allocation of emotional capital toward endeavors that produce results rather than toward distractions that erode power. A disciplined mind, therefore, recognizes every emotional investment and asks this crucial question: does this serve my purpose or does it deplete my power? If the answer is the latter, it is released immediately, without hesitation, without regret, without attachment. Furthermore, the law of strategic observation demands your attention. Observe the world with precision, as a scientist observes an experiment, as a general observes the battlefield. Emotional involvement blinds you to nuance, to detail, to opportunity. Detachment sharpens perception, clarifies judgment, and allows for action that is both effective and decisive. Those who fail to observe, who act in haste and passion, are the architects of their own failure. Those who observe, who maintain calmness, who reserve emotional energy for calculated execution, are the architects of mastery, of influence, of wealth that endures beyond a single generation. You must also internalize the principle of temporal patience. Mastery does not arrive at the beckoning of desire alone. Instant gratification is the enemy of true accomplishment. The untrained mind seeks immediate reward, and in that seeking it squanders energy, loses clarity, and becomes vulnerable to error. The disciplined mind understands that every great achievement is the product of consistent, deliberate action over time. Patience is not weakness, it is power in repose. It is the quiet accumulation of momentum, the unseen preparation of forces, the slow but inevitable convergence of effort and opportunity. Now, consider the formidable influence of the principle of purposeful focus. The mind that scatters its attention, that succumbs to distraction, that allows trivial matters to dominate thought, cannot hope to manifest greatness. Focus is the amplifier of thought, the engine of execution, the multiplier of effectiveness. Each time you train yourself to return your attention to your chosen purpose, you are, in effect, exercising a muscle of control that will, in time, become unbreakable. And when mastery over focus is combined with emotional detachment, you possess a force capable of achieving what others deem impossible, of creating what others perceive as miraculous, of attaining a wealth of power, influence, and legacy reserved only for the resolute. Let us speak, without reservation, of the mastery of adversity. Every challenge, every hardship, every betrayal, every failure is a lesson in disguise, a catalyst for growth, a crucible in which the disciplined mind forges strength, insight, and resilience. The emotionally reactive man sees obstacles as threats, as injustices, as barriers to happiness. The emotionally detached and disciplined man sees the same obstacles as tools, as opportunities, as essential instruments in the refinement of character and skill. This is the subtle alchemy of mastery, turning every negative circumstance into positive leverage, every misfortune into advantage, every difficulty into a stepping stone toward ultimate success. And here, let it be known, lies the threshold that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the conscious choice to accept responsibility for every thought, every feeling, every action. Blame external forces, and you forfeit power. Accept responsibility, and you command the full magnitude of your potential. Your mind is not a puppet, it is a kingdom. And the man or woman who rules that kingdom, with clarity, detachment, and discipline, achieves results beyond what imagination alone can conceive. Observe now the principle of constructive subconscious alignment. The subconscious mind is the silent executor of your repeated beliefs, habits, and mental patterns. If you feed it fear, doubt, and reaction, it will produce chaos. If you feed it discipline, clarity, and purpose, it will produce precision, opportunity, and unstoppable momentum. Emotional detachment is essential in this process. By refusing to indulge transient impulses, by consciously directing thought toward desired outcomes, you program the subconscious mind to work tirelessly in the realization of your aims. Here, then, is the secret the chosen understand. Control your conscious mind, and the subconscious will amplify your power, accelerate your actions, and manifest your intentions with relentless precision. And now, let me address the final, immutable truth. The acquisition of wealth, influence, and legacy is not a matter of luck, of circumstance, or of birthright. It is the product of cause and effect, of disciplined thought, of deliberate action, of emotional mastery. The world is abundant, yet only the prepared mind will seize what it offers. Only those who have disciplined their inner world, who have detached from triviality, who have cultivated precision of thought and action will attain what they desire. Those who wait for fortune to fall upon them are doomed to mediocrity. Those who command their own mind will command everything else. Rise then, train your mind, master your emotions, define your purpose, direct your attention, program your subconscious, convert adversity into advantage. Respond with clarity, act with precision, and let every action you take be the expression of a mind in command of itself. Wealth, influence, legacy, and power are not abstractions. They are the inevitable outcomes of your mastery over yourself. And now, having absorbed these principles, you must act relentlessly, without hesitation, without doubt. The world is waiting, and only the chosen will unlock the secret that transforms thought into reality, intention into legacy, and discipline into unstoppable achievement. Now, as we advance, consider the principle of mental immunity, the power to remain unshaken by provocation, criticism, or social pressure. The masses live at the mercy of opinion, allowing the voices of strangers, the murmurs of doubt, and the echoes of past failure to dictate their actions. They are prisoners of reaction. But the disciplined mind, the mind that has embraced emotional detachment, understands that only one voice truly matters: the voice of reason, guided by purpose, directed by principle, and informed by experience. This voice, when heeded with unwavering commitment, provides clarity in chaos, courage in fear, and precision in the midst of turbulence. You must cultivate immunity to distraction, to insult, to temptation, and to fear itself. For when the mind becomes impervious to interference, the path of action becomes clear, and the results inevitable. Equally, the law of strategic concentration demands your attention. The average individual diffuses their effort across countless endeavors, fragmenting energy and diluting influence. The disciplined individual identifies the critical few tasks that produce disproportionate results and dedicates all focus, all skill, and all emotional energy to their mastery. This is no small feat. It requires a ruthless elimination of what is trivial, an unwavering commitment to what is consequential, and the audacity to reject comfort, distraction, and fleeting pleasure. To achieve dominance in any field, one must engage in this deliberate prioritization daily, with the precision of a surgeon and the persistence of a river cutting through stone. Consider, too, the principle of reflective response. Most men react without thought. Most women allow circumstance to dictate emotion, but the chosen pause, consider and then act. Reflection is the silent force behind every strategic decision, every monumental breakthrough, every act of genius. It is not weakness, nor is it hesitation, it is mastery. Reflection allows the mind to assess the cause, predict the consequence, and select the optimal course. Emotional detachment is the prerequisite for this reflection. Only by rising above the turbulence of passion can one view reality objectively and act with decisive precision. We must now confront the relentless power of self-command. To command oneself is to rise above the primitive impulses of fear, envy, and desire, and to direct action in accordance with reason, principle, and purpose. The untrained mind obeys the whims of circumstance, following the lowest instinct. The trained mind directs every impulse toward the execution of its chosen end. This self-command is the defining characteristic of leaders, of innovators, of visionaries, and of the truly wealthy. Without it, knowledge is wasted, effort is dissipated, and potential remains unfulfilled. With it, obstacles become stepping stones, criticism becomes fuel, and adversity becomes the forge in which destiny is crafted. Now, allow me to speak of the most profound of all truths. Mastery over the inner world produces mastery over the outer world. The outer world, with all its complexity, its chaos, and its apparent unpredictability, bends to the mind that is disciplined, detached, and purposeful. History reveals this principle repeatedly. The generals who commanded victory did so not because of superior numbers, but because of superior composure, foresight, and discipline. The inventors who changed the world did so not because they were luckier, but because their minds were unshakable, focused, and relentlessly aligned with their vision. The entrepreneurs who amassed fortunes did so not because of chance, but because they possessed clarity of purpose, control over emotion, and the courage to act where others faltered. Let me illustrate this principle with a practical exercise, which, if performed daily, will transform your mental landscape. Each morning, before engaging with the external world, sit in quiet contemplation. Review every potential source of disturbance that might arise that day: criticism, challenge, provocation, delay. Visualize each scenario and rehearse your response, not as a reaction, but as a deliberate, detached action in alignment with your purpose. Anchor yourself to your principles. Strengthen your emotional reserve. Condition your mind to act as a master, not as a servant to circumstance. This is no mere routine, it is the architecting of destiny. Next, understand the inexorable law of the subconscious accelerator. Thoughts, repeated with focus and emotional detachment, become internalized programs that drive automatic, precise action. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between fantasy and plan. It executes with perfect fidelity whatever is impressed upon it. By cultivating thought discipline, by training the mind to focus exclusively on purpose-aligned objectives, by detaching from trivial distraction, you create a subconscious engine of unstoppable execution. Here lies the secret the ordinary fail to perceive. Control thought, and your actions, results, and circumstances will inevitably follow. Furthermore, embrace the principle of calculated patience. To act impulsively is to betray wisdom. To act too slowly is to forfeit opportunity. The disciplined mind must learn the rhythm of strategic timing, the moment when patience has accumulated sufficient leverage, when clarity has reached precision, when the world has aligned with preparation, and then act with unerring decisiveness. This is the essence of the leader, the innovator, the magnate. Preparation married to perfect timing, guided by unshakable emotional neutrality. Now, consider the principle of leverage. Every idea, every skill, every advantage, and every relationship can be multiplied exponentially if applied with discipline, strategy, and detachment. Emotion clouds judgment, leading to squandered leverage. Thoughtfulness preserves it, insight enhances it, and action actualizes it. The one who understands leverage sees opportunity where others see inconvenience, power where others see limitation, and wealth where others see scarcity. Emotional mastery magnifies the force of leverage, transforming small actions into monumental outcomes. Understand this: The path to true success is littered not with mere failures, but with emotional capitulations, moments when the mind yields to fear, anger, or impatience. The world will test you incessantly, presenting circumstances designed to provoke reaction, to elicit resentment, to derail your focus. The average man succumbs, the exceptional man rises. To rise, you must train the mind as a fortress, impervious to the assaults of circumstance, impervious to the seduction of short-term gratification, impervious to the siren song of approval. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It is the ability to observe the storm without being consumed by it, to act decisively while others flail, to maintain vision while the world loses perspective. Consider the principle of strategic detachment. To master your inner world is to perceive events with the lens of cause and effect, rather than judgment and bias. When insult or misfortune arrives, the detached mind asks, what is the cause? What is the lesson? What is the opportunity? And only then, and only after reasoned reflection, does it act. In this way, emotional detachment is not avoidance, it is leverage. Every disturbance, every challenge, every confrontation becomes a catalyst for action rather than a chain that binds. You will find that the greater your detachment, the greater your control, the greater your capacity to influence, persuade, and create. Let us speak now of the law of mental neutrality. This law states unequivocally that the mind cannot achieve mastery while it is enslaved by reaction. Reaction is the domain of the undisciplined, the mind that obeys every stimulus without thought. Neutrality, in contrast, allows observation, analysis, and measured response. The neutral mind is not passive. It is active in the highest sense, choosing its action with intelligence, foresight, and unshakable alignment with purpose. Through neutrality, one transforms chaos into clarity, opposition into advantage, and adversity into stepping stones toward unparalleled achievement. Now, embrace the power of calmness. Calmness is not mere absence of noise. It is presence of control. Calmness allows the mind to see through illusion, to measure accurately, to act decisively. The world mistakes frenetic activity for productivity, reaction for progress, noise for intelligence. The disciplined mind knows otherwise. Calmness magnifies clarity, and clarity begets power. Every great leader, every pioneering entrepreneur, every innovator, every master of their craft has cultivated calm as a weapon. They understood that emotional turbulence blinds judgment and diminishes effectiveness. To achieve extraordinary success, you must become unshakable, resolute amidst uncertainty, composed amidst pressure, and serene amidst chaos. Consider the principle of thought first. Every action, every word, every consequence originates in the mind. To act without mental preparation is to surrender to randomness, to gamble with fate, to serve the whims of circumstance. Thought first, action second is the formula of mastery. A disciplined thinker anticipates, strategizes, and aligns each impulse with ultimate purpose. Your thoughts are seeds, your actions, the harvest. Plant wisely, cultivate diligently, and you will reap abundance beyond imagination. Mismanaged thought allow impulsive reaction, and you invite disorder, disappointment, and loss. The mind is the only battlefield where victory is permanent, for mastery over the inner world guarantees mastery over the outer. Reflect also upon the principle of controlled focus. The mind that flits from distraction to distraction, that permits envy, pride, or fear to infiltrate, will never achieve greatness. Focus is the currency of achievement. Emotional detachment preserves focus by removing the toxic influence of ego, the turbulence of uncontrolled sentiment, and the distraction of the unimportant. Focus is cultivated through disciplined thought, meditation upon purpose, and unwavering alignment with principle. With it, your energy multiplies, your clarity sharpens, your power becomes undeniable. Without it, talent is wasted, opportunity is lost, and potential remains unfulfilled. And now, grasp the significance of personal initiative, the courage to act in spite of doubt, in spite of criticism, in spite of uncertainty. Initiative is the expression of mental sovereignty. Emotional detachment empowers initiative by freeing the mind from the tyranny of fear and the paralysis of expectation, to act while others hesitate, to innovate while others imitate, to lead while others follow. This is the hallmark of mastery. Without initiative, knowledge remains inert, talent remains latent, and purpose remains unrealized. With it, every thought crystallizes into action, and every action transforms destiny. Most men live at the mercy of their subconscious, unaware of the invisible scripts that dictate behavior, obedience to fear, desire, and habit. The chosen understand. The subconscious is neither friend nor enemy. It is a tool. Mastery over it begins with deliberate suggestion. Through repetition, affirmation, and visualization, you impress upon this silent operator the directives of purpose, principle, and reason. Every thought carefully chosen, every belief carefully nurtured, programs the subconscious to act on your behalf with the precision of a machine and the inevitability of natural law. You do not hope it will serve, you command it to serve. Understand this. The mind that has embraced emotional detachment wields the ultimate leverage. Let others be swayed by passion, by impulse, by the seductive call of immediate gratification. Let them stumble into frustration, waste their energy, and surrender to chaos. You, by contrast, will observe, calculate, and act with serenity, with foresight, and with unyielding control. For it is not in frenzy that greatness is achieved, but in composure, not in reaction, but in deliberate, decisive action, not in surrender, but in absolute command over oneself. The principle of self-reflection is now your most formidable weapon. Daily, you must examine your actions, your thoughts, and your emotional responses. Did you yield to anger when reason demanded patience? Did you allow envy to cloud judgment? Did doubt weaken your initiative? Each failure, each misstep, each moment of emotional compromise is a lesson, a blueprint for refinement. Self-reflection without detachment breeds shame. With detachment, it breeds power. By examining without judgment, you see clearly, act decisively, and correct relentlessly. We now turn to the law of exponential leverage. Knowledge alone is insufficient. Skill alone is insufficient. Intention alone is insufficient. Only when knowledge, skill, intention, and emotional neutrality converge does action multiply in magnitude and effect. The detached mind applies energy where it matters most, conserving strength, maximizing outcome, and converting every challenge into opportunity. Herein lies the secret of those who achieve the extraordinary. They do not toil aimlessly, they act strategically, consistently, and without emotional interference. Reflect also on the immutable truth of persistence. The masses quit at the first sign of opposition. The ordinary falters under the weight of criticism. The weak surrender to impatience. The disciplined mind, the detached mind, understands that adversity is the forge of excellence. Every obstacle is a teacher, every delay a mentor, every difficulty an instrument of refinement. Persistence guided by detachment is not stubbornness. It is rational, relentless, calculated action. It is the engine by which talent is transformed into achievement, potential into reality, and vision into legacy. Now, let me draw your attention to the principle of purposeful detachment. To be attached to outcome is to invite disappointment. To be attached to recognition is to cede power. To be attached to approval is to relinquish freedom. Detachment is not indifference, it is sovereignty. It is the ability to care deeply about success without being enslaved by anxiety or desire. It is the clarity to act where others are paralyzed, to innovate where others are constrained, and to lead where others follow blindly. With purposeful detachment, you become the architect of circumstance rather than its victim. Finally, embrace the principle of unwavering vision. Your inner world, disciplined and detached, becomes a lens through which the outer world is transformed. See yourself not as you are, but as you will be powerful, precise, accomplished, and unstoppable. Let every thought, every plan, every action be filtered through this vision. Let every trial be measured against it, every challenge reframed as opportunity, every distraction neutralized by alignment with purpose. The mind, once mastered, becomes the most formidable force in the universe, bending reality to the will of its possessor. And so, my friend, the secret is revealed. Control the mind, Master your emotions, cultivate discipline, and take command of your inner world. All else follows. Wealth, influence, mastery, and achievement are but consequences of this singular law. If you allow your mind to be governed by impulse, you surrender your destiny. But if you command your mind, govern your emotions, and act with unwavering purpose, nothing, no obstacle, no adversary, no circumstance can prevent your ascent. The path is arduous, the discipline exacting, the responsibility immense, but the reward is unmatched, eternal, and absolute. Rise now, embrace these principles, and commit to the mastery of your mind. Let every day be a testament to discipline. Let every action reflect clarity. Let every thought be aligned with purpose. For only the chosen, the disciplined, and the detached will ever unlock the true secret to wealth, power, and unshakable success. And when you do, the world will bend to your vision, and your legacy will endure beyond measure. You are now prepared. Take command, act decisively. Master your inner world. Your destiny awaits. Now, let us examine the subtle yet decisive influence of habit upon achievement. The mind, once trained in discipline and detachment, must be guided by deliberate constructive patterns. Habit is the silent engineer of destiny, shaping every action long before conscious thought intervenes. The undisciplined mind cultivates habits of reactivity, procrastination, and self-doubt. The disciplined mind cultivates habits of clarity, precision, and persistent action. It is not enough to know the principles. One must embody them until they are woven into the very fabric of daily life. Consider the ritual of thought management. Every morning, each thought must be weighed, each emotion acknowledged but not surrendered to, each plan aligned with purpose. By repeating this discipline, the mind internalizes mastery until detachment becomes second nature and mental clarity an unshakable companion. Reflect also upon the extraordinary power of selective association. The company you keep, the voices you absorb, and the influences you permit are extensions of your own mental state. Surround yourself with those who elevate, who challenge, who embody discipline, and you will find your own thinking sharpened, your resolve fortified. Avoid the herd, the critics, and the emotionally volatile, for their influence seeps silently into the subconscious. Remember, the mind is a fertile field. The seeds it absorbs determine the harvest it reaps. Plant carefully, nurture wisely, and guard against the intrusion of negativity, gossip, and fear. Now, consider the principle of strategic visualization, a tool wielded by all masters, from generals to entrepreneurs. When you visualize, you are not merely dreaming, you are instructing the subconscious to operate in alignment with your highest purpose. Picture your success with every detail, the actions taken, the outcomes achieved, the obstacles overcome. See yourself composed in adversity, decisive in moments of challenge, unwavering in pursuit of destiny. The mind cannot distinguish vivid imagination from actual experience. By visualizing mastery, you pre-program your subconscious to act with precision, courage, and resilience when the real test arrives. Let us delve deeper into the dynamic of emotional economy. Just as a financial strategist allocates capital to maximize return, the disciplined mind allocates emotional energy where it yields the highest benefit. Rage expended upon insult is capital wasted. Worry over the uncontrollable is capital squandered. Focus, patience, and calm action are the investments that compound over time. By learning to direct emotional energy with the wisdom of a seasoned strategist, you multiply influence, accelerate achievement, and remain unshaken while others are consumed by volatility. Examine the historical precedent. Consider Abraham Lincoln, a man beset by relentless adversity, criticism, and despair. What set him apart was not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of his inner world. He practiced detachment from insult, patience in delay, and precision in thought before action. He allowed neither fear nor rage to dictate policy or decision. Observe the pattern and recognize its universality. Those who conquer the outer world have first conquered the inner world. The law of rational response must now be embraced. Every stimulus does not demand reaction. Every event does not merit emotional surrender. A rational response is the offspring of discipline, knowledge, and emotional neutrality. To react without analysis is to serve circumstance. To respond with intelligence is to command destiny. Develop the habit of asking, what serves my purpose? What aligns with my highest objective? Before every word spoken, every decision enacted, and every action undertaken. In this way, you convert potential chaos into actionable advantage, turning obstacles into catalysts for growth and criticism into opportunity for refinement. Now, consider the synergy of mastery over desire. Desire unchecked leads to obsession, impatience, and compromise. Desire, disciplined, fuels initiative, persistence, and excellence. Emotional detachment allows desire to become a servant rather than a tyrant. You must learn to want intensely, but to act with clarity, to pursue relentlessly, yet without anxiety, to aspire without attachment to outcome. It is this equilibrium, the balance of passion and detachment, that separates mediocrity from mastery, failure from achievement, and ordinary men from those who write history. Every day, commit yourself to the practice of conscious review. Reflect upon the mind's performance. Where did it yield unnecessarily? Where did it act with foresight? Where did emotional impulses threaten to derail purpose? Through this ritual, patterns of strength are reinforced, and weaknesses are corrected before they become habits. By integrating reflection with detachment, the mind becomes an instrument of precision, executing strategy with the calm of a master chess player contemplating the board 5 moves ahead. Now, let us confront the often overlooked principle of mental immunity. Just as the body requires resistance to disease, the mind requires immunity to destructive thought patterns, negative suggestion, and the toxic influence of others. Most men surrender their minds to every passing idea, rumor, and emotional wave, and they are undone by the very storms they fail to resist. But the disciplined mind erects boundaries. It discerns the worthy from the trivial, the strategic from the manipulative, and it acts as a fortress of reason and clarity. Cultivate this immunity through practice. Refuse to indulge in gossip, reject the pull of envy, and silence the inner voice that doubts, complains, or fears. Strengthen this mental immunity daily, and you become unshakable, untouchable, unstoppable. The principle of strategic pause is now to be understood. Between stimulus and action, there exists a moment of power, a brief interval in which the mind may assert command. Most men act impulsively. They speak in anger, they decide in haste, they capitulate to fear. The chosen recognize the pause as sacred. Within that pause, thought triumphs over reaction. Within that pause, strategy is born, clarity is secured, and the soul remains sovereign. Train yourself to inhabit this moment, to breathe deeply, to analyze without judgment, and to respond with precision. By mastering this pause, you master not just your actions, but your destiny. Consider also the principle of influence by example. Leadership is not claimed through title or force, but demonstrated through composure, discipline, and consistency. The detached mind radiates calm, commands respect, and inspires obedience not through fear, but through the silent power of presence. By embodying control over your inner world, you shape the outer world. Others mirror your mastery, they follow your calm, and they are compelled by the authority of your self-command. Influence begins within. The mind, disciplined and detached, becomes the source of magnetic leadership. We now approach the principle of calculated risk. Every decision carries uncertainty. Every venture contains peril. The emotional mind reacts to fear and avoids risk, stagnating in safety. The disciplined, detached mind evaluates, calculates, and chooses opportunity. Fear is not ignored, it is measured, weighed, and subordinated to rational judgment. Through this mastery, risks are transformed into advantages, challenges become opportunities, and every action is directed toward the fulfillment of your purpose with minimal wasted energy and maximal effect. The principle of self-initiated action follows naturally. Men wait for circumstance, for luck, for the approval of others. Masters act before the world demands, before recognition is granted, before obstacles arise. Detachment from desire for approval liberates initiative. Emotional neutrality permits decisions based solely on purpose, reason, and strategy. Take the first step while others hesitate. Act decisively while others deliberate. Build relentlessly while others rest. Initiative, executed with composure and guided by mastery, becomes a force that shapes reality rather than reacting to it. Now, let us delve into the principle of cognitive alignment. Thoughts are the architects of destiny, emotions are the builders. Misalignment between thought and emotion produces inefficiency, inconsistency, and inner conflict. The disciplined mind aligns every belief, every intention, and every emotional energy toward a singular vision of purpose. By this alignment, the mind operates with the efficiency of a well-tuned engine, converting every input into productive output. There is no waste, no hesitation, no contradiction, only the forward momentum of deliberate, unstoppable force. Finally, embrace the principle of legacy thinking. Every decision, every act, every word contributes to the edifice of your personal legacy. Emotional surrender, impulsive reaction, and scattered attention erode the foundation. Detachment, discipline, and deliberate action fortify it. Contemplate not merely the gains of today, but the impact of your life upon the world, upon others, upon history itself. Let your mind, governed by reason and insulated by detachment, craft a life whose influence resonates long beyond your years. And so, my friend, understand this irrevocable truth. Mastery of the inner world is the prerequisite to mastery of the outer world. Emotional detachment is not a choice for convenience, it is a demand of greatness. Mental discipline is not optional, it is the law of achievement. Every principle we have explored: the pause, the reflection, the visualization, the initiative, the immunity, the alignment, and the legacy, is a pillar supporting your ascension. Neglect one, and the structure falters. Integrate them all, and you become unassailable, unstoppable, and destined for outcomes that others deem impossible. Rise now, wield these truths with courage and persistence. The world offers nothing to those who surrender to impulse, yet yields everything to those who command themselves. Take the reins of your mind, direct your emotions, execute with precision, persist with unyielding focus, and in doing so you shall claim the wealth, the influence, the mastery, and the legacy that the ordinary will only dream of. Your journey has begun. Your mind is now your instrument. Play it with mastery, and the symphony of your life will echo through eternity. Now, let us focus on the final, decisive truth. The ultimate power lies not in circumstance, wealth, or even talent, but in the unrelenting command of one's own mind. Every achievement, every fortune, every recognition, every extraordinary act begins first with thought. A mind untrained, surrendered to emotion, and distracted by trivialities is powerless. But a mind disciplined, detached, and focused is a weapon of limitless potential, capable of bending reality to its design. Recognize the subtle distinction between emotion and impulse. Emotions are neither enemies nor friends, they are instruments. The undisciplined man reacts to them, becomes enslaved by them, and allows his destiny to be dictated by circumstance. The master, however, observes emotion without attachment, understands it without fear, and channels it toward purpose. Anger becomes a signal for strategy, not a call to rashness. Fear becomes an indicator of risk, not a prison of inaction. Desire becomes fuel for disciplined effort, not a tyrant that dictates surrender. Consider the extraordinary lives of those history has enshrined. Men and women who faced relentless adversity, betrayal, and challenge, yet emerged victorious. Their secret is never in chance, nor in favor of fortune. It is in the relentless control of their inner domain. Napoleon, Lincoln, Carnegie, Franklin, and the countless others who built empires of influence and wealth each understood that to master the world, they must first master themselves. And they did so by practicing detachment, deliberate thought, and disciplined action until it became their very nature. This mastery requires the cultivation of relentless concentration. The mind is easily distracted, constantly assaulted by trivialities, opinions, and fears. To achieve greatness, one must eliminate distraction, command focus, and direct all mental energy toward the objective at hand. Every minute wasted on irrelevance is an enemy to success. Every thought focused with precision is an ally in the conquest of destiny. Train yourself to concentrate without wavering. Visualize, plan, and act with an intensity that leaves no room for doubt, hesitation, or regret. And now, the principle of absolute accountability. Every action, every thought, every decision is yours and yours alone. Blame, excuse, and resentment are the chains of mediocrity. The master claims responsibility for every success and every failure, learning from both and letting neither disturb inner peace. By owning your outcomes, you remove the power of external circumstance over your life and replace it with the sovereign authority of your own disciplined mind. We now reach the culmination of all principles: integration. Emotional detachment, mental discipline, accurate thinking, initiative, reflection, visualization, concentration, and accountability. Each alone is powerful, but together they form a fortress of the soul, a command center from which extraordinary achievement flows naturally. Internalize them until they are instinctive. Let them guide every choice, every interaction, every endeavor. Let them become the very air you breathe, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the cadence of your thought. Only then will the world bend in response to your mastery. Finally, consider the call to action. The world will not pause, it will not wait, it will not reward hesitation. Success, influence, and greatness belong only to those who act with courage, clarity, and discipline. Step forward now. Command your mind. Direct your emotions. Focus your thoughts. Pursue your purpose with relentless determination and unwavering detachment. The path is before you, clear yet demanding, and the power to walk it lies within your own hands. Remember this: the ordinary obey circumstance, the extraordinary create it. The undisciplined serve their emotions, the master commands them. The weak react, the strong respond. The fearful doubt, the disciplined act, and the chosen, the few who understand these truths and live by them, unlock wealth, influence, and mastery that others cannot even imagine. Rise now and claim what is yours by right of mastery. Build, act, endure, and persist. Let no distraction, no insult, no obstacle divert you from the path you have chosen. The power is within you. The opportunity is before you. The time is now. Command yourself, master your mind, and let the world witness the unstoppable force of a disciplined, detached, and purpose-driven life. You have the principles, you have the knowledge, you have the capacity. All that remains is execution absolute, relentless, and unwavering. Step into this truth, and the life of extraordinary success, influence, and fulfillment shall be yours. Nothing will stop you, nothing will deter you, and nothing will remain beyond your reach. The mind mastered is the world conquered.